It's a good bounce-back win for us today. I thought we started the game with the right tone on the defensive end, and so that was that was by design for us to get back.
It was supposed to be a standard closed-door evaluation camp in Durham, North Carolina. The date was set, the roster was finalized, and the media was kept at a comfortable distance, locked outside the gym doors while waiting for the standard press releases and polished sound bites. But by 2 a.m. on Saturday morning, reports started surfacing that the lights in the facility were still on, and that Team USA leadership was huddled in an emergency meeting that was definitely not on the official itinerary. Why? Because something happened on that court that wasn't supposed to happen. According to insiders present in the gym, Caitlin Clark didn't just return to the Team USA roster. She effectively dismantled the entire hierarchy of the program in less than an hour. The panic discussions that followed weren't about strategy, rotations, or logistics. They were about damage control. To understand why this specific practice caused such a meltdown, you have to look at the context of the last 18 months. We all remember the 2024 Olympic snub. We remember the discourse, the arguments, and the eventual gold medal that Team USA won, which gave the old guard the ammunition they needed to say they didn't need her. For the last year and a half, the narrative from the establishment has been that Caitlin Clark is a phenomenal talent. Sure, but she's a piece of a puzzle, not the whole picture. They insisted that she needed to wait her turn, pay her dues, and learn the finer points of the international game before she could be handed the keys to the kingdom. But Clark did something that none of them expected. She went silent. She didn't lash out in the media. She skipped the flashy, unrivaled 3v3 league in January 2025, turning down a massive paycheck to prioritize her body and her training. She spent the entire 2025 WNBA season getting stronger, faster, and more efficient, leading the Indiana Fever on a deep playoff run that silenced almost every critic she had left. By the time she arrived in Durham this December, she wasn't the skinny rookie who looked exhausted from a college season. She was a seasoned pro who had spent months refining her game specifically to destroy the very defenses Team USA relies on. The tension started the moment the gear was handed out, in what many insiders are calling a calculated, petty power move by the program's traditionalists. Caitlin Clark was not assigned her iconic number 22 jersey. Instead, she was tossed jersey number 17. Now, to the casual fan, this might seem irrelevant. It's just a number, right? But in the world of elite sports, and specifically in the highly political ecosystem of Team USA basketball, nothing is accidental. Number 22 is her brand. It is a number that has sold millions of dollars in merchandise and brought a tidal wave of new fans to the sport. Taking it away was a subtle reminder that she is not the star here, that she is just another body, and that she fits in where they tell her to fit in. Sources say that when Clark saw the jersey hanging in her locker, she didn't complain. She didn't ask for a trade. She didn't go to Instagram to post a cryptic message. She just put it on. But the staff members in the room noticed a shift in her demeanor immediately. There were no smiles. There was no happy-to-be-here energy. She looked like someone who had just been handed a reason to embarrass everyone in the building. And that is exactly what she proceeded to do. The practice began with standard drills, layup lines, defensive slides, the usual warm-ups. But the atmosphere was reportedly thick enough to cut with a knife. Present in the gym were the titans of the sport. Sue Bird, now in a management and evaluation role, and Diana Taurasi, whose presence at the camp has been a subject of massive speculation. Despite the retirement rumors and the fanfare of early 2025, Taurasi was there, suited up, reportedly to test the new generation, or perhaps to remind them that she was still the gatekeeper of the program's culture. The coaching staff, led by Cheryl Reeve, split the players into squads for a scrimmage. The setup was obvious. The veterans versus the new era. It was designed to be a learning experience. The plan was likely for the veterans to bully the younger players physically, force them into turnovers, and show them that international basketball is a different beast than the WNBA. It was a setup that has worked for 20 years. The veterans bully the rookies get humbled, and the hierarchy is preserved. But Caitlin Clark didn't get the memo. The leak that has everyone talking centers around a specific 37-second sequence in the second quarter of the scrimmage. This is the moment that reportedly caused the emergency designation for the post-practice meeting. The veterans had just scored a gritty, physical basket in the paint, playing classic Team USA basketball. They were talking trash, feeling good, setting up a half-court defense. They expected Clark to bring the ball up slow, call play, and try to run the system. Instead, Clark took the inbound pass and accelerated. She didn't look at the sideline for a play call. She crossed half-court in 3 dribbles. The defender, an elite all-defensive team veteran, sagged off just slightly, respecting the drive. It was a fatal mistake. Clark pulled up. From 30 feet, a shot that Cheryl Reeve has historically hated. A shot that traditional basketball purists call a bad shot. But before the defender could even get a hand up, the ball was through the net. Silence. But she wasn't done. On the very next possession, the veterans tried to force the ball inside again. Clark jumped the passing lane, making a defensive read that critics said she couldn't make, stole the ball, and was gone. 2 defenders chased her in a 2-1 fast break. The smart play is to draw the foul or pass to the trailer. Clark stopped on a dime at the 3-point line, sent the flying defender sailing past her, and buried another deep 3. The third possession was a dagger. Frustrated, the veterans decided to trap her. They sent 2 defenders at her the moment she crossed half-court, trying to force the ball out of her hands. This is a trap that has killed offenses for a decade. But Clark didn't panic. She split the trap with a behind-the-back dribble that left both defenders colliding with each other, stepped back, and hit a third consecutive 3 from the logo. 37 seconds, 9 points. The entire defensive scheme of Team USA, a scheme built on structure, seniority, and waiting your turn, was dismantled by one player who decided she was done waiting. The reaction in the gym was described by one witness as funeral quiet. You have to understand, in these close runs, usually there's trash talk. There's yelling. When someone gets hot, the bench goes crazy. But nobody went crazy. They were stunned. The leak claims that Sue Bird, standing on the sideline with a clipboard, didn't cheer. She didn't clap. She just leaned over to an assistant coach and whispered for words that might define the next decade of USA basketball. She broke everything. Bird wasn't talking about the score. She was talking about the system. She was talking about the hierarchy. In those 37 seconds, Clark proved that the old way of playing, the slow, methodical inside-out game, wasn't just slower, it was obsolete. It was like watching a typewriter try to compete with a supercomputer. And then there was Diana Taurasi. The reports regarding Taurasi's reaction are even more dramatic. Taurasi is the ultimate competitor. She feeds on conflict. But in this moment, she didn't bark back. She didn't demand the ball to answer the run. According to the leak, she simply walked off the court. She signaled for a sub, walked to the bench, sat down, and stared at the floor. It was a moment of realization. Taurasi